Welcome back to my channel, Rare Coins Shop. If you're excited about finding hidden gems in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we're going to uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're diving into the world of one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar. It might seem like a simple piece of currency, but don't let its modest appearance fool you. This particular coin could be worth far more than you'd expect, especially if you have one in exceptional condition. So, what makes the 1972 Washington quarter dollar so special, and how much can it actually be worth? Stick around as we uncover the fascinating details about this coin and its surprising value. Let's take a trip back in time to 1932, the year the Washington quarter was first introduced. The coin was designed by sculptor John Flanagan and featured George Washington's profile on the obverse, with an eagle perched on a branch on the reverse. Over the decades, this design has become a staple of U.S. coinage, with many collectors seeking out quarters from various years, mint marks, and conditions. The 1972 Washington quarter dollar, in particular, has a special place in coin collecting history. By this time, the quarter had undergone several design changes, but the general motif remained the same. The 1972 coin was part of the ongoing series of Washington quarters minted for circulation. However, as with many coins, there's more than meets the eye. Some 1972 Washington quarters are more valuable than others, depending on their rarity, condition, and any potential errors that may have occurred during minting. While the 1972 Washington quarter was produced in relatively large numbers, certain variations make it an intriguing find for collectors. First and foremost, collectors tend to focus on the condition of the coin. Coins that have been in circulation for many years often show signs of wear and tear, which can significantly reduce their value. But here's the thing, finding a 1972 Washington quarter in mint or near mint condition is much rarer than you might think. Now, you might be wondering, what's the big deal about the 1972 Washington quarter? Why would it be worth anything more than its face value of 25 cents? Well, it all comes down to rarity and the condition of the coin. Over time, coins get worn down due to being handled, placed in cash registers, or being part of everyday transactions. But a coin that has been carefully stored or protected from damage can remain in pristine condition, with crisp details and little to no wear. This makes it far more valuable in the eyes of collectors and coin enthusiasts, but it's not just the condition of the coin that can make it valuable. There are a few other factors that come into play. For example, certain 1972 Washington quarters were struck with minting errors that make them stand out from the rest. One of the most notable errors is the 1972 double die variety. This error occurs when a coin is struck more than once, resulting in a misalignment or a double image of the design elements on the coin. The result is a unique piece of history that is highly coveted by collectors. If you've got a 1972 Washington quarter that features a double die error, you could be sitting on a valuable gem. These error coins are relatively rare and highly sought after by numismatists, which can drive their value up significantly. And it's not just the error variety that collectors love, the unique characteristics of each coin, such as mint marks and other imperfections, add to their appeal and worth. If you've stumbled upon a 1972 Washington quarter with a double die error or in pristine condition, you could be looking at a substantial payout. And now, you may be wondering, just how much could this coin be worth? If your 1972 Washington quarter is in exceptional condition or has one of those rare minting errors, it could fetch a staggering $120,000. Yes, you heard that right, $120,000. It's incredible to think that a coin originally worth just 25 cents could hold such immense value. The combination of rarity, condition, and potential errors makes this seemingly ordinary coin a true treasure for collectors. So, how can you tell if your 1972 Washington quarter is worth this kind of money? First, take a close look at its condition. Is it well preserved, with sharp details and no visible wear? Does it still shine with its original luster? If so, you could have a coin that's worth much more than you might have imagined. Next, check the design closely. Look for any signs of doubling, particularly around the inscriptions, date, or the eagle on the reverse side. A double die error can make your coin a rare and highly valuable piece. It's also important to check the mint mark on your coin. The 1972 Washington quarters were minted in several different locations, and coins from different mints can vary in value. For instance, quarters minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, while those from Denver have a D mint mark, and those from San Francisco are marked with an S. Each of these mint marks can affect the coin's rarity and value, with some varieties being rarer than others. In conclusion, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar may seem like just another piece of change, but it has the potential to be worth far more than its face value. The value of the coin depends largely on its condition, any rare minting errors, and the overall rarity of the specific variety you have in your collection. So, take a moment to check through your coin collection, and who knows, you might just have a 1972 Washington quarter that could be worth $120,000. Second rare coin, we take a closer look at one of the most intriguing coins from the United States, the 1983 Washington quarter dollar coin. This might seem like a relatively modern coin, but don't be fooled by its more recent vintage. There's something about this particular coin that makes it highly sought after in the numismatic world. You might be wondering, why would a 1983 coin hold so much value? Stick around as we dive into the details, explore its fascinating history, and discover just how much this coin could be worth today. Let's first rewind to 1932, the year when the Washington quarter was introduced. It was designed by John Flanagan to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. This was the beginning of the Washington quarter series, which has remained a staple in U.S. coinage ever since. Over the years, the design has evolved slightly, but the iconic profile of Washington and the eagle on the reverse side have stood the test of time, making this quarter instantly recognizable. Fast forward to 1983. The coin you see today, minted in Philadelphia with the P mint mark, represents a key part of the modern coinage era. By the 1980s, the U.S. was experiencing significant changes in its economy, and coin production was being ramped up to keep pace with the growing demand for currency. The 1983 Washington quarter, part of the series produced during that time, is often found in circulation. However, that doesn't mean it's just another ordinary coin. As we'll explore in this video, the 1983 P Washington quarter has a few surprises up its sleeve. One of the key factors that can make a coin valuable is its rarity. While many of these quarters were struck and circulated in high numbers, certain 1983 P quarters stand out because they were produced with a unique characteristic that wasn't as common in other years. In fact, some coins from the 1983 series contain noticeable imperfections or unique features, which make them highly collectible. The main reason that the 1983 Washington quarter can fetch such a high price in certain conditions is the coin's rarity, particularly when found in exceptional condition. Most coins from this era were circulated heavily, which means they've likely endured wear and tear, scuffs, scratches, and fading that affect their appearance. But what happens if you happen to find a 1983 P Washington quarter in pristine condition? The value of that coin can skyrocket, especially when it's kept in mint state, free from any signs of damage. But the story doesn't end with just the coin's condition. There's also the issue of minting errors. Coins struck with imperfections during the minting process can be worth significantly more than their regular counterparts. For the 1983 Washington quarter, there are a few noteworthy errors that collectors actively search for. A double die error, for example, occurs when a coin is struck multiple times with a misalignment. This can result in a double image on certain elements of the design, making the coin stand out as a rare error piece. So, what does this all mean for collectors? Well, if you happen to have a 1983 P Washington quarter that's in mint condition, or if you've stumbled upon one with a rare minting error like a double die, then you're holding a highly coveted coin that could be worth a lot more than you might have imagined. As the years go by, fewer and fewer of these coins remain in near-perfect condition, which is part of what drives their value up. Now, let's talk about the big reveal. How much can a 1983 P Washington quarter be worth today? Well, if your coin happens to be one of the rare ones with no visible wear and a perfectly struck design, or if you're lucky enough to have one with a minting error, you could be sitting on a real treasure. The value of such a coin can reach a jaw-dropping $99,000. Yes, you read that right, $99,000. So, how do you know if your 1983 Washington quarter is worth that kind of money? First, carefully examine its condition. Look for any signs of wear. Does the coin still have a shiny luster, or has it been worn down over the years? If it looks like it just came out of the mint, you're in luck. Next, look closely at the design. Is there any doubling in the text or images? If so, you may have an error coin that's worth significantly more. Finally, check the mint mark. The P mint mark on the 1983 coin is key to identifying its origin and its potential value. In conclusion, the 1983 Washington quarter might not seem like an ancient relic, but it can be a hidden gem in the right condition. With the potential for rare minting errors and the value that well-preserved examples can fetch, this quarter is more than just pocket change. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, it's worth taking a closer look at your quarters, especially the 1983 P Washington quarter. Who knows? You might be holding a coin that's worth a small fortune. Third expensive coin, we dive into the world of the 1988 Denver Washington quarter dollar coin. Now, you might be thinking, 1988? That's not exactly ancient history. And while it may not be from the early days of coinage, this particular quarter has an interesting story behind it. From its unique minting history to its surprising value in the right condition, the 1988 D Washington quarter is a coin that might just be hiding in your change jar, and it could be worth a lot more than you think. The Washington quarter has been a mainstay in American coinage for decades, with its iconic design featuring George Washington on the obverse and a majestic eagle on the reverse. These quarters have been produced since 1932, and although their design has remained fairly consistent, there are certain years that stand out more than others in the world of coin collectors. The 1988 coin is one of those years, and today, we'll explain exactly why this particular quarter deserves your attention. The 1988 Washington quarter, minted in Denver and marked with a D mint mark, was part of a regular series of circulating quarters. At first glance, it may appear just like any other quarter, but the value of this coin largely depends on the condition in which it has been preserved. In fact, condition is one of the biggest factors that will determine how much a 1988 D Washington quarter could be worth on the market today. Most quarters from this era were produced in large quantities, which means they were frequently circulated in everyday transactions, leading to wear and tear. But here's where things get interesting. A 1988 D Washington quarter that has been kept in mint condition or near mint condition is quite rare. If you happen to have one of these beauties that's still shiny, well-defined, and free of any visible wear, you might be sitting on a small treasure. The clean lines, crisp detail, and the lack of scuff marks or tarnish can dramatically increase the value of this coin. Coins that retain their original luster and fine details are always sought after by collectors because they are harder to find. The 1988 quarter isn't particularly rare in terms of overall production numbers. In fact, millions of these quarters were minted, which means they were widely circulated and readily available in the late 1980s. However, finding a 1988 D quarter in pristine condition or one with a notable minting error can significantly elevate its worth. Speaking of minting errors, some coins in the 1988 series were struck with imperfections that could make them even more valuable. For example, a common error that can occur during the minting process is the double die variety. This happens when a coin is struck more than once, resulting in a doubling effect on certain design features, such as the inscriptions or the image of George Washington. If you have a 1988 D quarter with a noticeable doubling effect, then you may have a coin that could fetch a significantly higher price than a standard coin. Error coins are often more valuable because they are unique, making them highly prized among collectors who seek out rare pieces to add to their collections. Another important consideration when determining the value of the 1988 D Washington quarter is its overall demand in the market. Coins that feature certain traits, such as being part of limited minting runs or being in outstanding condition, are often in higher demand among coin collectors. These collectors are always on the lookout for coins that are hard to come by and can complete their collections or serve as an investment. The 1988 quarter is no exception, and if it's in great shape or has an error, it's likely to attract a lot of attention from buyers. Now, you might be asking, how much can this coin really be worth? Well, the answer can be quite surprising. If your 1988 D Washington quarter is in near perfect or uncirculated condition, and particularly if it has a rare minting error, it could be worth far more than the 25 cents it was originally struck for. So, what are we talking about here? This coin could be valued at a remarkable $70,000. Yes, you heard that right, $70,000 for a single 1988 D Washington quarter. To put that in perspective, that's an incredible amount of money for a coin that was originally just part of regular circulation. The key to unlocking this high value lies in the rarity of the coin's condition and any potential minting errors. When it comes to coins like the 1988 Washington quarter, it's all about the details, whether it's the sharpness of the design, the clarity of the minting, or any special variations that set it apart from the others. So, how do you know if your 1988 D Washington quarter is worth this kind of money? First, carefully inspect its condition. Does it show signs of wear, or is it still gleaming with the same shine it had when it was first struck? If it's in top-notch shape with no noticeable scuffing or discoloration, you might have a valuable coin on your hands. Next, look for any unusual characteristics, especially if there's any kind of doubling in the design. If you spot a minting error, then you've definitely got a unique coin that's worth a lot more than face value. In conclusion, the 1988 Washington quarter D might not be the oldest coin in your collection, but it certainly has the potential to be one of the most valuable, if you happen to have it in exceptional condition or with a minting error. The rarity of coins in pristine condition, combined with the allure of unique characteristics like doubling errors, means that this seemingly ordinary quarter can be worth a small fortune. So, if you come across a 1988 Washington quarter in your coin collection or change jar, be sure to give it a closer look. You might just have a coin worth $70,000. Especially, we're talking about the 1991 Denver Washington $quarter coin. While it might seem like just another coin from the 1990s, this particular quarter has caught the attention of collectors and investors alike due to its rarity and potential for high value in certain conditions. So if you think your loose change is just made up of pennies and nickels, think again. Your 1991 D Washington quarter might be worth a whole lot more than you expect. To understand the true value of the 1991 Denver Washington quarter, let's start by taking a closer look at the history and design of this coin. The Washington quarter has been a staple in U.S. coinage since 1932, and its design has seen only a few modifications over the decades. Most notably, the quarter features an image of George Washington, the first president of the United States, on the obverse. On the reverse, you'll find an eagle in flight, clutching an olive branch, which is meant to symbolize peace. It's a beautiful, simple design that has stood the test of time. Now, the 1991 coin was produced by the Denver Mint, and the D Mint mark on the coin indicates it was struck in that facility. During this year, millions of these quarters were minted and released into circulation. With such high production numbers, it might seem like a 1991 Denver quarter would be just another everyday coin. But, as with most coins, it all comes down to the condition, rarity, and any unique characteristics that might set it apart from the others. So why should you care about the 1991 D Washington quarter? Well, here's where things get interesting. While there's nothing inherently rare about the coin in terms of its production numbers, the value of this particular quarter skyrockets if it's in excellent or near mint condition. You see, many of these quarters have been in circulation for years and show signs of wear and tear, from scratches and scuffs to tarnishing and discoloration. Finding one in pristine condition, free from these imperfections, is extremely rare. Why is this so important? Coin collectors, known for their meticulous attention to detail, are always looking for coins that have been well preserved. And when they find a coin like the 1991 Denver quarter that hasn't been damaged by heavy circulation, the demand for it increases. If the coin has been kept in excellent condition, it can fetch significantly more than its face value. The 1991 Denver Washington quarter is also a great example of how minor variations in minting can impact the coin's value. For example, if your quarter has an unusual die variety or an error in the minting process, it could be worth far more than a regular, everyday quarter. Some of the most valuable coins are those with minting errors, such as doubling, misstruck details, or off-center designs, that make them unique and more desirable to collectors. These errors are extremely rare and often go unnoticed, which is why it's important to thoroughly check your coins for any signs of imperfection that could significantly increase their value. However, it's not just about the physical condition or potential errors that make the 1991 Denver Washington quarter a hidden gem. The overall rarity of certain coins from specific years can play a big role in their value. Even though the 1991 quarters were produced in large numbers, the fact that there are fewer coins in uncirculated or mint condition naturally increases their value over time. Collectors and investors alike understand that a coin's worth is often determined by the combination of its condition, its rarity, and its potential for appreciation over the years. So, how much could your 1991 Denver Washington quarter actually be worth? This is where it gets really exciting. If you happen to have a 1991 D quarter in uncirculated or near mint condition, or if it has a rare error, it could be worth quite a lot of money. While most of these coins are valued at their face value of 25 cents, the truly exceptional specimens can be worth much more. In fact, a 1991 Denver Washington quarter in excellent condition or with a rare minting error could be worth an astonishing $58,000. Yes, you read that right, $58,000. That's an incredible amount of money for a coin that was only minted a few decades ago. The key here is finding that rare, well-preserved quarter that stands out from the rest. Whether it's because of its condition or an unusual minting error, a 1991 Denver Washington quarter could be worth far more than what you might have initially thought. Now, you may be wondering how you can check if your 1991 Denver Washington quarter is worth such a significant amount. First, examine the coin carefully for any signs of wear. If the coin is still shiny and the details of George Washington's portrait are crisp and clear, you might have a winner on your hands. Next, inspect the reverse side for any potential minting errors, such as doubling or off-center strikes. Finally, consider the provenance of the coin. If it's been kept in a safe place, away from circulation and potential damage, it's more likely to have maintained its value. In conclusion, while the 1991 Denver Washington quarter may seem like just another piece of change, it has the potential to be worth a small fortune if it's in the right condition or has a rare error. Coins like these are highly sought after by collectors, and as time passes, their value only increases. So, next time you stumble across a 1991 D Washington quarter, make sure to give it a close look. You might just be holding onto a coin worth $58,000. Last unique coin, we're talking about the 1998 Denver Washington $quarter coin. While it might not immediately ring a bell as one of the highly sought-after coins, this particular coin is gaining traction in the world of collectors and could be worth far more than you think. Stick with me, and let's discover the fascinating world of the 1998 D Washington quarter and its hidden value. First, let's take a quick journey through the history and design of the Washington quarter. Since its debut in 1932, the Washington quarter has become one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. The design of the coin, featuring a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, has remained relatively unchanged over the decades. The reverse side features a majestic eagle in flight, symbolizing freedom and strength, which perfectly complements the profile of Washington on the obverse. But now, let's fast forward to 1998. This year marked the final year of the state quarter program, which had begun in 1999. The United States Mint was in the middle of producing a series of quarters that would honor each of the 50 states. However, the 1998 coin is unique in that it doesn't feature any state designs, since the program wouldn't officially kick off until the following year. Instead, the 1998 quarters followed the standard design, which is important to note when considering its value. So why are collectors paying attention to the 1998 Denver Washington quarter? It all comes down to rarity and condition. The Denver Mint produced millions of these quarters, which were circulated widely and used in everyday transactions. With such large numbers produced, most of the 1998 quarters have experienced significant wear and tear, making it difficult to find one in pristine condition. Coins that show little to no signs of circulation, with sharp details and minimal scratches or discoloration, are the true treasures here. What makes the 1998 Denver Washington quarter especially valuable is the relative rarity of examples in top-tier, uncirculated condition. Coins that have been preserved carefully, kept away from harsh conditions, and stored safely are incredibly sought after by collectors. And when it comes to Washington quarters, the better the condition, the higher the price can go. Additionally, collectors are always on the lookout for potential mint errors. Even though the 1998 quarters were produced in large quantities, coins that have unique characteristics or errors in the minting process can fetch an impressive amount of money. Common minting errors like double strikes, off-center strikes, or even incorrect dies used during production are some of the most valuable mistakes. If your 1998 Denver Washington quarter has any of these unusual characteristics, it could dramatically increase its worth. Now, let's talk about the condition that would make a 1998 Denver Washington quarter really shine. To be clear, we're talking about uncirculated or near-mint condition coins, which have minimal to no signs of wear. These coins were either never circulated or were kept in pristine condition for decades, making them far rarer than their worn counterparts. These uncirculated quarters retain their original luster and sharp details, which is exactly what collectors look for when they are hunting for that perfect coin. So, how much could you expect a 1998 Denver Washington quarter to be worth? If you happen to have one of these coins in uncirculated or near mint condition, or if you're lucky enough to possess one with a rare minting error, you could be in for a pleasant surprise. The value of this particular coin can reach $35,000, yes, that's right, $35,000 for a single 1998 Denver Washington quarter. This is the kind of value that can really make a coin collector's day. It's truly remarkable that a coin that was once used in everyday transactions can now be worth such an incredible sum, simply because of its condition or potential errors. The key takeaway here is that while many coins are produced in large numbers, the ones that stand the test of time and remain in excellent shape are the ones that truly make their mark in the world of coin collecting. So, if you've got a jar of old quarters lying around or you've come across a 1998 Denver Washington quarter, make sure to check it out carefully. Look for any signs of wear and tear, as well as any potential minting errors. You never know, your quarter might just be the hidden gem that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. In conclusion, the 1998 Denver Washington $quarter coin is much more than just another coin from the late 20th century. Its rarity, combined with the right condition or unique minting errors, can make it a valuable addition to any collection. So, next time you're sorting through your coins, take a closer look at your 1998 quarters. You might just be holding onto a coin worth $35,000. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins and their incredible value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest discoveries. Until next time, happy collecting.